Law enforcement officers told defendant to put his hands up. Defendant instead reached for his gun. Do you know how many people die from that very thing right there? Watch the news every single day in America. A young person dies just because of that very thing right there.
Court Uncut, what the people want.
Mr. Ellis, your case is quite a bit more complicated. You were charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You were facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you.
Yes, Judge. On January 29th, 2025, at approximately 3:29 p.m., the officer was dispatched to a weapons disturbance call at 5900 Long Drive in Harris County, Texas. The officers were given a description of the defendant and that he was dancing, waving a gun. The officer arrived at the location and saw the defendant matching the description at a bus stop. The officers observed the handgun sticking out of the defendant's front right pocket, and the officers told the defendant to put his hands up, and the defendant continuously refused orders from the officers to let go of the firearm. The officers used force and pulled the defendant's arms away, and the defendant continued to grip the firearm, attempting to pull it out of his pocket. The officer was hit by the defendant while pulling away, and the officer was thrown into a metal and glass wall at a bus stop. The officer sustained minor abrasions to his right arm, and the officer struggled with the defendant for approximately 6 minutes until detaining him. The officer spoke with a witness who stated she was walking to work and heard and saw the defendant dancing and rapping while waving around a firearm multiple times.
Mr. Ellis, let me read something to you. This is why the magistrate did not give you a PR bond in this case. Defendant on a 3-year deferred for a state jail felony since 3/21/24 allegedly stole CBD disposables. In this case, the witness called to report a man dancing around and waving a firearm in the air at the 5900 Long Drive in Houston, Texas. Law enforcement officers arrived, saw defendant matching the description as sitting at a bus stop, saw butt of gun sticking out of his pocket. Law enforcement officers told defendant to put his hands up. Defendant instead reached for his gun. Do you know how many people die from that very thing right there? Watch the news every single day in America. A young person dies just because of that very thing right there. Law enforcement officers struggled with the defendant as he continued to reach for the firearm, finally got him cuffed after approximately 6 minutes, then recovered a loaded .45 pistol from his pocket. One law enforcement officer injured during the struggle, pushed against the wall of the bus stop, sustained minor abrasions. Could have been another assault of a peace officer, which is a 3rd-degree felony, 2 to 10 in the penitentiary right there. Witness identified defendant as a person she saw dancing, rapping, pulling out a black pistol from his pants and waving it around multiple times, not obeying NFC of the deferred, the conditions of the deferred. Public safety concerns, indigent her AFC. This is the reason why you were not given a PR bond in this case. And quite frankly, Mr. Ellis, it scares me that if we let you out, what's going to happen? Sometimes we have to protect people from themselves because of their own worst enemy. Counsel, what would you like?
I would like to get his bond lowered. He is staying with his mother. His mother will be able to, keep an eye out on him and make sure that he does abide by the conditions that was previously set. I will give her a call today. He's looking for work and he has a child on the way. We're just asking for a lower bond.
What do you do with yourself these days, Mr. Ellis?
I'm just looking for a job so I could take care of my family because right now I'm with a whole 36-year-old and I'm 20 years old and I'm taking care of her kids, her and myself. And I'm staying with my mom and I'm in and out with my baby. So it's a whole lot of stuff going on. And then even dealing with that 3rd-degree felony.
I don't want to talk about the cases. My concern is that Mr. Ellis, you're a baby yourself and now you got a kid on the way. How many kids you got?
To be my first, because I lost my first son at the age of 15, stillborn.
You were 15 when you had your first kid?
I will make contact with his mother, Your Honor, before I leave today. She's present in his life. Yeah.
What's going on with the deferred upstairs? Have they done anything? Have they filed a motion to revoke?
Let me see. It does not appear that at this time they filed a motion.
What do you guys think as far as a bond reduction? State.
Your Honor, based on the fact of the nature of him being a threat to the community and to the officer themselves, which are considered under 1750, and we request 5,000 would be.
I'm requesting 2,500, Judge. He's out of work and the person that would make bond for him would be his mother. And
How long has he been on probation? He's been on probation for a year. Let me see how well he's done. He's already had one BVR. You know, when you're on felony probation, you're supposed to live like you have a halo above your head because you're really looking at a lot of time in prison. And the way things are going now, this is not a good way to go. You're going to end up either dead in prison. It's hard enough in this society as a black or brown person. All you're doing is making it more difficult. The older you get, the more difficult life gets. And if you don't have a skill, a trade, knowledge, you're going to end up with a 40-year sentence or in a gutter, begging, because life sucks without money. And what you're doing now, all you're doing is you're making life even just the more difficult as it is. The more convictions you get, the more unemployable you get. If you don't believe me, when you go back there in the pods, ask. All the old timers that are in there, ask. You're 20. Don't squander your opportunity. I'll give you a bond reduction. I'll set it to 10,000 now.
okay,
I'd like to have contact with mom. So
okay,
somehow if you can like arrange so we can figure out how we can get through to Mr. Ellis.
yes,
So what we can do to, I'm not opposed to a PR bond,
okay.
but I want to know that somehow we have some kind of structure in place so that we know.
Okay, Judge. I will call her today. How would you like me to get back in contact?
I'm assuming he might go to felony court Monday. We can roll it to Monday
Okay,
and then just stay in the loop with me and then
Will do.
we'll structure things so that we can try to get him on the up and up.
okay. Thank you, Judge.
I'm not going to let you die here. I'm not going to let you squander this opportunity. I will stay on top of this until we get you going well, because the way that you're going now, it sucks. It's not good. You're not to use any weed. You're not to use any alcohol. And I'm going to stay on top to make sure. I'm giving you a curfew. I'm going to do all these conditions to make sure you're not going to end up another statistic. Do you understand? So we're going to roll your case to Monday because I want to see if we can get your mom involved in this, see where we can go. Okay? All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks.
The pure bond.
No, yeah, PR bond on Guerrero and then 10G on Mr. Holtz.